It's okay. I walked through the kind of like this. Yeah.
Testing. The meeting will now come to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for Timber Oaks, especially our board member, Donna Mosier, who's in the hospital. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Yes, good morning. Ed Wayner.
Here.
Donna Mosier. Susan Muniak.
Here.
Lemaine Eifert.
Here.
Brenda Owens. Here. Barry Burgess,
Here.
Jennifer Smiley,
Here.
Beverly Hasty.
Here. Proof of notice of the meeting, John?
Yes, Beverly, as per your documents and Florida statute, notice was posted.
Thank you. Disposition of prior meeting minutes. I have a motion.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Treasurer's report.
Move with, that we accept the treasurer's report as passed out at the door.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Manager's report. John?
Yes, so the billiard tables have been completed, the carpet has been installed, and the new poker tables have been delivered and installed. The engineer for the seawall project has been steadily proceeding as planned. I think the last part of the project that was completed, we had the soil borings done and to determine if the wall could be installed where they're planning on installing it. And we're waiting for whatever the next step is. Swimming pool project, the paper project, part of the project is complete. We expect the interior surfacing of the project to be completed today, hopefully by 1 o'clock or so, depending if the weather allows the final touches to be done this morning. And hopefully by the end of the business day today, we're starting to fill up the pools. If all goes according to plan, best case scenario, we're probably swimming on late Monday. Worst case scenario, late Wednesday. Hopeful for Tuesday. Later on in the agenda, we have a proposal from the same seawall engineer to do some or start the drainage work that we need done around the pool decking and the clubhouse entry door to the pool. For the month of March, violations total 182. Of those, the new ones are 113 and resolved are 93.
Thank you, John. Okay. Art committee, Russell Rogers. Okay, take your time.
On?
Just gotta pull it up. There you go.
Okay. We have quite a few items to discuss, some good, some bad. On the 321, Ed, Ron, and I did a field trip to look at this place over what was in discussion last month on the driveway. And we measured, and it's here somewhere, there it is. We measured it, looked at it, and decided that it was in compliance within the bounds of the procedures. The 6 feet that you want to add on does not encroach on anybody else's property, so we recommend that you approve it. We did not approve, it still stands that we approved the driveway fixing, but not the planting of the flowers or the trees they want to plant up to the side, because that's a right of way. This is one. We also had another one. We had a backyard fence. We approved it. But we think we need to turn it over to you folks for final review. The one number 8101 Merrimack Drive. Yeah. Yeah, we had it, it backs up to the school property. We recommend that for approval.
What do they want to do there?
Just put up a fence, a white fence.
There's a wall there now.
It's the school property. No, this is this over here, this is Merrimack Drive. That's off of 50, that's when you come up 52, first one you come up.
Oh, okay.
We recommend that for approval. Also, we have one here at 8515 Woodcrest Drive. We really didn't know what to do with it. The gentleman is 90-some years old. I guess he has an accident. Can't get out and walk his dog. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. 11524 Forest Run. I'm sorry. And he wants to install a dog pen in his backyard to put his dog in. We didn't approve it. We left it totally up to you folks.
And this is completed? That's completed?
Yep.
Okay.
I guess they just put it in and now they decided they should put the paperwork in.
That's a removable pen.
John,
I'm wondering if that's one that we issued a violation for and they submitted a request after the fact.
We didn't know. This other one is over at Driftwood, 8515 Woodcrest Drive. We want to put in a cabana in the backyard. Ed and I looked at it, and it's all done by a surveying, engineering outfit. We assumed it would be approved, but due to Debbie's diligence, she looked at it and said no, so she made me put it in the file to talk to you folks to review, so. Thank you, Debbie. It isn't installed yet, luckily, it's just in the approval stage. Ed and I didn't dare to approve it. I guess we did approve it, right, Ed? Yeah, we did approve it. But then we had second thoughts when Debbie, so we'll leave that up to you.
The picture here, Russ, is that not, it's not on his property, or it is?
It's on his property.
So it's already,
No, it's not installed. No.
Where'd the picture come from?
That's an example. Thank you.
That's an example.
Okay.
This is what it should look like.
Oh,
What's the deed restriction say in regards to those?
You got that, Debbie?
they can have a shed, but they can't have any other freestanding structures. Permanent freestanding structures, yeah. You can have a shed, that's it. And period.
I think several months ago, we made a gentleman take it down, right? He had partially built. He had it partially built, and we had to take it down. A carport.
Jennifer,
Did you want to mention the 19 that you're recommending for approval?
I'm getting to that. This is the last one of those.
Okay.
So, some things that, for you guys to make a decision on. Now, we also have 19 that we approve. 3 that we didn't. We recommended approval of 19.
okay, Sue,
I make a motion that we approve the 19 that were recommended for approval by our committee.
I'll second
okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
What we're also, sorry.
Opposed?
that.
Motion carried.
What we're also finding out is people are sending the paperwork in and doing the work before we even have the meeting. Or they're not doing the paperwork in, so someone says
So
something
they
to
get
them.
called to.
Thank you.
All requests for statutes must include size along with layout or photo showing placement in the yard. No permanent canopies, gazebos, tiki huts, sunrails, and tents are prohibited. Temporary canopies and tents must be put up for no more than 2 days. Pergolas that are attached to the house, original permit brought to the office, size limited to 12 by 12 and secured to the cement. We have to. That's on the cabana.
Madam Secretary, I make a motion that we deny that request.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The cabana is denied. Okay. The dog fence is next. Go ahead, Sue.
I move that we deny the dog run at 11524 Forest Run Court and let them know that it has to be taken down.
Have a second?
I'll second that.
Are we confusing addresses, or is that the Merrimack one?
No,
this is
the one on Forest Run.
This is the one that they've already got the black fencing in.
May I?
Yes, Sue.
They say it's temporary. So if we disallow it, they have all the times before they get the final notice to go to fining to keep it up, and then they can take it down. I mean, we don't allow dog runs anywhere. So why, make an exception? If they're having trouble with their dog or, taking care of it, either get someone to walk the dog for them or let the daughter take care of the dog while he's incapacitated.
Okay.
I have to agree, I hate to turn it down, but I know formerly in the house I lived in before this, a woman with cancer asked for a small fence in the front of her yard because she would fall walking the dog, and we didn't allow it. I hate not to allow it, but we can't open it.
All in favor of denying it?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Go ahead, Sue.
I'll move that we allow the fence in Merrimack. No, fence. Why don't we just, and then we can discuss it after.
Have a second for that motion? So we can discuss it. Thank you, Barry. Okay, it's open for discussion. Now you, doesn't it back up to no, but I know it's school, but isn't there already a wall there?
I think it's a fence, not a wall.
It's a fence
Yeah.
already there.
But off of, if you come up La Madera and make a right and then go down.
But there is a fence in the back there.
I believe it's actually the wall.
Yeah, there's
The
a
wall.
wall back there.
Then why would they need to put a fence there?
Well, she says it's for her dog, but may I?
They're just proposing to fence the sides of their yard. And that's probably, not a permitted.
Right.
All right, the only reason that I think.
mic, please?
I am, I thought I was, sorry. The only reason I said it should be is because it falls under the same rule that we discussed last time with Eileen's. It does, because it says that if it's against a property that's not theirs, that there's no statement that it can only be against the non-property. It says that that person can fence their yard if it's against another property. And whether we like it or not, whether it needs to be changed or not, the way it's written now, it's the same thing as what we did with Eileen's. I'm not saying I think it's great, but no, the way do you have I didn't bring it.
Here, right here.
Okay.
Fences are not permitted in the senior villages except all existing fences come under deed restrictions and architectural guidelines. Only existing fences can be replaced within 30 days of removing the original fence.
Keep going.
In the senior villages on lots abutting Jasmine Road, the fence must be a dog-eared overlap board style 6x6. The board fence along the back of Rollingwood and Sable Palm and Oakwood villages shall be made of white vinyl 6 feet high. If property backs up to property other than Timber Oaks communities or senior villages abutting family villages, fence must be dog-eared overlap board style or vinyl of all properties. Install vinyl fence at the same time. In accordance with the Pasco County Code, the good side must face the street when a fence is replaced. Posts can be metal, provided they are not seen from the street or good side.
And I believe this falls into that if their property borders a non-Timber Oaks property, they can have a fence. It does not say only along that line. It's fence, and that's the same reasoning that we used with Eileen's.
Eileen's was replaced.
Eileen was replacing, but it was also the reasoning that, yes, she could replace it, but if she hadn't had a fence there, she technically would have been able to put in a fence. It does not say the fence has to be only on the part that borders the other.
Implies,
How does it imply?
because that's why it brings in the fact that that's why it brings in the fact that they're allowed, because they're abutting Timber Oaks property.
Okay.
So that's the reason for the fence. Not that they can fence their whole yard in.
But
Otherwise, you'd have fences all along Rollingwood and everywhere else that it.
Let me read what it says in the bylaws.
okay,
Fences of any material, including but not limited to wood, plastic, metal, or masonry materials, are not permitted in the senior community as referred to in Article 6, Section 1. Any fences which were installed and exist prior to April 11th, 2006 in the senior community may be retained, provided they are maintained in good condition. Excuse me, once an existing fence is removed for a period of 30 days, a new fence may not be constructed on the same property. Boundary fences, fences along major roadways, and fences protecting Timber Oaks Community Services Association property or common property are exempt. It says here, fences are permitted in family communities, Driftwood and San Clemente. The board may pass reasonable rules to protect the integrity of this provision. Notwithstanding the restrictions set forth in this section, as of the date of this amended and restated declaration, those fences currently located and adjacent to the main roadway shall be grandfathered in, and replacement shall be permitted in accordance with Article 1, Section 2, 11, and 12 when necessary.
Madam President, I believe she can have it along the back, but not the sides. That wording.
Well, it calls it a boundary fence. And putting fence along the sides between neighbors' yards is not a boundary. Or separating timber oaks from.
Right. Well, I will withdraw my motion.
Okay, Chris has something she wants to say.
First of all, before the school put the wall up, there was a wall that matched Spanish Gate back along those properties. Part of Merrimack still has a basket weave fence. Pat Bonsell replaced her basket weave with a stockade fence. So you have to look at the property where it's located. When they put the school wall up, those those homeowners chose to take down the timber oaks fence. So you're replacing a fence that was there when the whole community voted to take it down when the school wall was built. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Doreen, is this about what we're talking about now, the fence?
No,
Then can you wait till we finish this one? Thank you. Okay, so you withdrew the okay, but we need to.
Entire fence and only permit the boundary fence at this property.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I
Opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Like a little humor. Okay, now we're moving along to 10544 Tapestry Drive. The driveway. The driveway has been approved. What hasn't been approved, which I think is one of the things you were upset about, the planting, the trees, and that was denied.
no, it's the driveway. It's about the driveway.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, my name is Doreen Calvis. I live at 10602 Tapestry Drive, right next to Anne Marie Roy's property at 10544 Tapestry. I want to give you, basically what I'm doing this for is for documentation. I've already gone to the county. Okay, I want this on the books that you were notified.
Which side of her property are you on?
The north side, where the driveway extension is going to be added. This is going to be in two parts, and I'll try to go through it as fast as I can. Every board, every committee until this ARC committee has denied any driveway extension, any more pavers, any more hardscape to be put on that property. The reason why, and I have the dimensions right here if you'd like to look at them, there's 8,000 pavers on that property. 66 2/3 of her property is already hardscape. What does that mean? It means it's causing drainage problems for me.
I got up this morning. This week, I put in sod on my side yard and on my backyard, and my sod, once again, was underwater. There's no place for the rain to go. It backs up onto my house. And it's been that way since the day they installed those pavers. Those pavers are causing holes in the property. The property is giving out. Bev, you were up there to see one of the holes, okay? What is gonna happen, this isn't the only hole, there's been several holes. That hole has been there since September 30th of 21, actually 2 months before that. She has not filled it in. Code enforcement came up and informed me that this continues. I'm to contact another department. And if they declare that these are sinkholes forming because of all this pavers, my home will be immediately destroyed. I will not be permitted to go in and grab my purse or any of my belongings. This is what I'll have left in life. You see, I'll give you a little history. When Timber Oaks was developed, that was developed 20 years later. The reason being, that was slated for 2-story retirement. The county come in and said that land wasn't stable enough to put 2-story, that only 1-story homes could be built. But proper drainage had to be put in. That was one of the issues because we backed up against a solid wall and there's no place for the water to go. That home has destroyed the perpetual ditch that was put in between. And now this, and each one of the homes, if you read U.S. Homes pamphlet, were designed so that there was a slope. So neither home would get any backwash. That has been totally taken out and filled in by 2 large dump trucks that came that day. Commercial sized dump trucks that came that day and filled out and leveled the sidewalk. So now there's no embankment to pour the water and there's no ditch. So what happens? The water backs up to my house. My family room has been flooded twice. The second part of this is Miss Roy subleases bedrooms in her house. She rents them out while living there. The last one, no, I'm sorry, 3 before this was a criminal. His discharge papers listed her address. He lived there with his girlfriend and his 5-year-old son.
Doreen, your time is up. Your 3 minutes.
I just want to tell you, I went through hell with trucks pulling up and cars pulling up. 3 years, my bedroom has been dark on that side, and I've not seen any family member for 3 years. You have this extension, it's only going to put those people closer to my bedroom. I can't live in it now. I can't sleep in it now. And by the way, someone here is interested. The old man is back, and she's renting again. That makes number 14th renter.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Barry.
As far as this request is concerned, does the deed restrictions say anything about the driveway extension being connected to the rest of the yard? In other words, it seems to me like 2 separate issues. If it says you can extend the driveway to 22 feet, that's one issue. If they have more pavers than what they're allowed to have, it sounds like that's another issue. So it sounds like we need to address 2 separate issues there. I don't see how the driveway has anything to do with the pavers.
It does, because it's hardscape. And you got to understand, the homes up there are on the same size lots that you have, but they're much bigger homes. She only has 7 feet. 7 feet. So vision 7 feet, and she's going to use that for more hardscape. My front lawn is going to end up being rounded.
And I can appreciate everything you're saying. I'm just saying that if we have to follow what the deed restrictions say, is this driveway a separate issue from the pavers? Maybe she needs to take some of the pavers out to block.
The board tried that, sir, for a year. the office can tell you, there's the secretary, for 1 year, every board meeting, there was an argument. See how he had this installed was Friday at 5:05 when the office closed, the truck showed up with the pavers. By Monday morning, the pavers were put in. By Monday afternoon, the committees were up there. They fought and have been fighting about this issue. I was told there would never be any more hardscape put on that property. Hardscape is hardscape. Either it's breathing, growing, and can die, or it's hardscape,
Okay,
okay?
thank
And the
you.
county's saying it's causing a problem. I want you to know, 3 trees collapsed, and thank God they didn't come through the window.
Thank you, Doreen.
So if we go back to the original, what was there, originally, there were twice as many pavers in the front yard. The owner, the previous owner, right, it wasn't them, it was the previous owner had put in all that. The board went and the board required them taking out the pavers that they had. So, no, it was, I'm not going to argue with you, they were taken out. He had pavers almost all the way to the sidewalk. It was the previous owner. And we went and we measured and all this, and we had them take it out, and he had taken out, and there were not more put in. They were taken out to where they were supposed to be taken out. We left the 2 planter areas and brought the other back up, and all of it from the sidewalk up to the thing was taken out. He had to take out those pavers. Then, but the driveway, as Barry was saying, is a separate issue, because the driveway, it can be up to 22 feet. The driveway, now, if he were putting, or if she were putting more pavers in the front, you would have a valid argument. If the county feels that she's doing something wrong, then fight with the county and have the county take care of her and tell her that she's violating the county rules.
The rain doesn't understand whether it's a driveway.
I'm sorry, but we
It's-
cannot, we have
argue this.
listened, we can't keep going over this.
You know something? I'm not the only one that's gonna lose my house up there. That's the other homeowners. Do they want to walk out with the clothes on their back and lose all of their belongings all over an extension of a driveway for a person who has 1 small car, a red Kia Soul, and has 4 parking spaces available to her? And you want to jeopardize everybody's home?
If the problem is the county,
same
then
problem.
go to the county.
If I go to the county and they declare that it's sinkholes, we're gonna lose our homes. It's hardscape. You gotta look at each individual property.
I guess my question is, do we have precedent to deny that request?
The other board and the other committee did. This isn't the first arc she put in for it.
I can understand and appreciate what you're saying, believe me. I just want to know, do we have precedent to deny it? Because we deny this, then can we deny or can we accept every other one that's asked for? That's my only question.
The other
John.
board have.
John is speaking now.
Barry, I think the short answer to your question is this homeowner bought a violation-free property and there's no requirement that would stop her from widening her driveway now. If she had bought the property with an existing hardscape violation, that's one thing, but she did. Her property was approved when she purchased it. She hasn't installed any additional papers since she purchased it. This is her first request, and it's a request to widen the driveway.
Go ahead, John. Sorry, Ed.
The question I have is, there's only so much hardscape allowed. Does this exceed that allowed hardscape?
I think Barry's right when he says it's two separate issues. I think the driveway can be widened and it doesn't account towards that 60% rule. That's the way I understand it, that it's two separate.
No, no. You know what? When the drug dealers start
You know,
pulling in my
you might have
driveway,
the
no.
floor.
And
You do
at
not
3
have the
o'clock in the
floor.
morning, at 3:01, I'm gonna start making phone calls. If I'm gonna be
I'm
voting
gonna have
up
to
5,
ask
6
you to
times.
leave.
No. Okay, I will leave, because I'm sick of this committee. I'm certainly happy with it. If this was your home, how would you react?
It is our
How would
home.
you, no, yeah?
It is our home.
No arguments. I make a motion that we accept the extension of the driveway.
Brenda, you want to say something? Is it possible for the widening of the driveway to occur on the other side? It would be less amount of hardscape added to the site.
It would go all the way up because if you look.
It's already paved.
Yeah, but
I don't think we have the right to tell her where she is to enlarge the driveway.
I'm just wondering if we ask her if it would be possible to put it on the other side. It would be less additional pavement.
That's a good question though,
I
because.
don't know how wide it is. I don't know how wide the additional part is. Say in the application.
That's a good question because Brenda has a point. If she went on the right side instead of the left side, that would take out some of the pavers you had a question about and still accomplish what the lady wants to accomplish. So can we conditionally approve it, approve 22 foot if it goes on the right side?
the question, how much wider is the addition?
And most drives are 18 feet wide, so that just.
6 feet. 6 feet.
That's 6 feet.
That would take right up to her front door.
That's fine, move it over.
I don't think we can conditionally approve it with that added to it. That's not part of our bylaws or anything in the ARC that says we have the right to do that.
But that's
Okay,
correct.
John?
I was just gonna say a different version of what LeMay just said. I don't think you have a footing to say that.
Eileen, is this about,
Yeah, this is about the property. Those pavers or whatever you call them, is her yard 50% grass?
No, it's not.
If it's not, she's in violation.
Correct.
That's the way she bought the house.
The house was bought with this already done. She has not changed it. Apparently they tried to handle this before and some of the pavers were removed. You can't make her change something that was in effect when she bought the house.
Where does it say that? I mean, aren't we all
Why?
But I would say if she's already at over 50%, then she can't add any more. Yeah. Even though it's for the driveway, she can't add any more because she's already over 50%.
And any more what, Ed? Pavers or driveway?
John, you have something to say?
And if you look at that 60% rule that we're talking about, it's extremely vague and it talks about landscaping projects and not 60% applies to landscaping. It doesn't apply to the driveway. Very vague.
But the driveway is part of the front yard and the landscaping. I mean, we could approve it if she took out some of the other.
No, what I'm saying is the 60% rule talks about landscaping. If you're doing landscaping, you have to leave 60% of the landscaping there. It doesn't apply to the driveway. I don't know that it really applies to anything. It's extremely vague. And I especially don't think it applies to this.
Removing grass.
But it refers to landscaping projects. This isn't a landscaping project.
I believe it is.
I don't think it applies. I think you'd have a hard time making it apply in any situation, especially a driveway.
I have a question. Go ahead. Sue, go ahead.
Okay. The way, if I remember correctly, and I know Jen is looking it up, it's not 50% of your front yard, it's not 50% of your side yard, it's 50% of all the grass. Wait. Here it is.
While you're looking, can I ask another question? Can we table this to talk to the homeowner and ask them if they would be willing to put it on the right side if we approved it?
Brenda, you have something to say?
Yeah, so the
Board comes first.
The extension that she's asking for is not concrete, it's pavers, which is a landscape product. Word pavers match existing around front of house and matching pattern. It is not concrete.
Mr. Skalsky, you'd like to speak?
Yes, Larry Skolsky, 822 Laura Del Rio. If you have a 50-50 rule, and she bought the house with already violation, but that's not her problem because it was already there. If she adds to that hardscape, driveway, increasing the driveway is increasing the hardscape, without a doubt. Then I think it should be not denied. She just keeps taking out more grass, as Ed acknowledged, and putting in more hardscape. She's already in violation of that, but it's not her problem because she bought it that way. But we shouldn't allow her to increase that. I remember when I was putting in my lanai, boy, they went out and they measured, make sure I had enough grass. And here, to me, this is very clear cut. She's in violation of our 50-50 rule. And I don't understand what the problem is. You're taking out grass, putting in hardscape, and you're increasing that percentage of lawn versus hardscape. So I think it should be denied.
Part of the problem, Larry, part of the problem is that it has already been approved. That's part of the problem.
Well, who approved it? The board?
The ARC committee suggested it, and
Because
another fact,
but the ARC committee doesn't approve things, they just recommend things.
right, they recommended that it be approved, and somehow it got approved.
Well, I don't know what to say about that.
It wasn't during my time, so.
This is not. This is not.
Yes.
Yes, it has.
It was approved at one time and then it came back to us again. And our committee went out and looked at it and put it back for approval and took away the trees that were supposed to be put in the right of way in the center. They did recommend the driveway for approval. And if we turn around now and say this driveway cannot go in, you'd have to go around, I would say 75% of the driveways in Timber Oaks exceed the amount of hardscape that's allowed. It has never been taken into consideration how much a driveway took up the yards. So if you want that to happen, then the whole thing has to be changed.
We all have driveways. We're talking about additional.
We're talking about an extension of a driveway allowed up to the amount of feet that is put in our ARC guidelines. If you want to change that, you must change the guidelines. This is what we go by. This is what we have always gone by. You can't just decide that this one cannot go in.
If I may say one more thing, I understand what you're saying. But I understand what you're saying, but this is not a regular, everybody has a driveway. And everybody has a 50-50 ratio with your lawn and your driveway. What this property has is a large amount of pavers in front of the property, which already exceeds the 50-50 rule. The lady who bought the property was grandfathered into this thing. Now she wants to expand it. When you put additional driveway in, you are reducing the amount of landscape. Whether it's 4 feet, 2 feet, you're taking away more grass and you're putting in more asphalt or whatever you put in. So she's already has exceeded the amount, not her problem. She bought the house that way, but she can't expand anymore because she's already in violation. So I don't understand, when you put in more driveway, everybody has a driveway, but they don't exceed the 50-50 rule.
They all do. If you look
Well,
around.
come to my house, it's not that way.
There is a percentage, I would say, more driveways, more properties exceed the 50-50 rule with the driveways than do not. That is never wait, Larry, no, that is never a consideration when they put in for a driveway, whether it's allowed or not.
Well, if you have a 16-foot driveway, you increase it another 6 feet. If I did that, I would still be within the guidelines of the 50-50. So I don't understand it.
Question. So LeMay, what you're saying is driveways are not included in the 50% rule or 60%?
Correct. They have
They
never
have
been, never been.
They're not part of the landscaping. It's the landscaping that's the 50% rule. And if we even asked her to put it on the other side, we would actually be adding to the landscaping rather than on the side. No, I'm saying the landscaping, because that's part of the front yard on that side of the driveway is part of the front yard.
Okay, John has something to say.
So since I've been here, numerous driveway extensions have been approved. We've even approved half-circle driveway extensions since I've been here. That 60% rule has never been a factor in any of those requests. Basically, repeating what LeMay is saying, it's never been a considering factor in those requests. And there's only one reason why it's a factor today, and it's not the ARC guidelines.
Brenda.
It seems to me to make that just because it's never been considered, this you're not, you can do one thing, but if it violates another thing, it's still allowed, it doesn't matter. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it's an and, not an or. They can comply with the driveway rule, and they also have to comply with the landscape rules.
But when you say
Take out
landscape,
the pavers in the front, put them on the side of the driveway.
if you, the way our landscaping, we talk of landscaping.
Could we please be quiet in the audience?
The landscape is not part of the driveway. The driveway is a separate thing from the landscape. When you do the landscape would be from the driveway over to the other side. And it's our guidelines could be better written. The 50% rule is kind kind of strange. But my biggest concern is if there was a concern when the swale was filled in, that should have been taken to the county at that time. That's not when you're talking about drainage, that should be taken to the county. And if the county says that the swale has to be put in, then they have to put the swale back in. It's not our purview to talk about the drainage that was designed by the county. We have to follow our guidelines.
Dale, you have something to say?
Al Thompson at Cheetah Drive. I was gonna stay home, but here I am. I've lived here for I guess 7 years now. I've never heard it said as the word landscape. I've been to meetings and I've heard you have to have 50% grass. I've heard that plenty of times, but it was always the word grass that I heard, not landscape. So is it, I could put flowers all over my whole yard and I wouldn't have to have 50% grass? Is that what I'm hearing? Oh shoot, that's my phone, I'm bad. But I mean, what is it? Do we have to have 50% grass? Because that's what I always understood. Is it grass or landscape? I'll go off in a second, by the time I get there, it should stop.
The wording says, such landscaped areas excluding grass may not exceed 50% of the front, 50% of the back, or 50% of the side yards in which the area is located.
Okay, so the other 50%, if it can't exceed 50%, what is the other part that you're leaving, that you're not going into? You have to leave 50% grass, is that what I'm hearing? Or could it just be dirt?
You can't.
Why do you have to have grass? I can tell you something right now. If we wanted to go bring the water company in here, they'd tell us we could put anything we wanted in the front yard, driveways, sidewalks, or anything, because we're in a drought. And as long as we don't have to water, that's what they want. And they can oversee the HOA, because I've already checked on that.
What ours is saying, that you have a front yard.
Yes.
And I'm not counting the driveway, I'm saying the front yard.
Well, why don't we just talk about the
Hold
front
on.
yard? Yeah.
The front yard, you cannot put flowers and bushes and whatever else and trees in over 50% of that front yard, because that's supposed to be what's grass. So but the other part that goes with that is when we had the gentleman take out all the pavers, he had that practically paved to the thing. The board went and was talking with him. This is when I was first on the board, and we agreed to what it is looking like now.
Okay, so I came here late. I missed the beginning of the conversation. I have not been by the house to see it, but I'm just curious. If it was me and I said to you, okay, I really want to widen the driveway, how about if I take another section where I've got all flowers or whatever, and I dig them up and I plant grass to make sure there's 50% grass?
That's your prerogative. I mean, that's.
But would my driveway be approved?
That has nothing to
Expanding
do,
my driveway?
it has nothing to do with the
Your
driveway.
But aren't you complaining because the driveway is going to take up too much space of the landscape?
No, we are not complaining about that. We are saying that a driveway has nothing to do with the amount of landscape, hardscape that is put on your property. We have never considered how much land the driveway takes up. You are allowed 22 feet on a double car garage. That is all that is ever considered. If you are going over that, then it's not allowed.
And there's more than that already there, in other words, so she
No,
can't
it
expand
is not. No.
So then why can't you expand it? I'm trying to figure out what the problem is here, because I'm confused.
The problem is the neighbor does not want more hardscape on that property, which I understand. That has nothing to do with the driveway.
Oh, boy, I don't know if anybody's been down my street lately, but, you know, now what about backyards that face a main street?
And
I really can laugh if you want, but I fought for a house that looked like a jungle for probably 5 years. And the old people got letters and stuff, but the new people moved right in and I love them to death, so I would not dare turn them in. But the jungle has always been there. There is no 50% landscape, let me just tell you. What?
Thank you, Dale.
Rick Hagler, 10727 Footprint. Just quickly, what Jennifer read, when she read about 50%, did not say excluding driveways and sidewalks. So I therefore think, I agree with Ed, Brenda, and Larry. that you need to consider.
I didn't hear that last part.
Thank you.
Paula.
You need to consider it.
Paula DePace, Monterey.
I'm very sorry that you have to go.
And I really think that you really should go sit down and figure this out and help this lady out. I think that you should go sit down and figure this out and help this lady out. She's losing her property. And you're missing, and that's all you're talking about is driveway and feet. See if you can come to some kind of solution to help this woman out. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Paula. John?
Just one more little point, that 60% rule does not say excluding driveways, that's correct. The driveway extension rule that allows for 22 feet does not say anything about being dependent upon the 60% rule either. Just says that you can have 22 feet.
Go ahead, Dale.
Good morning. I know this doesn't involve me anyway at all, but the issue is there's a masonry wall behind her property. The water has nowhere to go other than at her house. They got rid of the swell. Evidently, this person, previous owner,
Probably have been between the two houses.
right, if they filled that in, the masonry wall behind that property, then the water has nowhere to go unless they put a catch basin. Like I said, I'm not over there, so I don't know, but there's a masonry wall that is a dam
Yeah,
behind their property.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. In the architectural guidelines for driveways, it says widening of driveways, single car maximum 20 inches width, 20 feet in width, sorry. The double car garage maximum 22 feet in width. Widening of driveways is allowed from garage to the street and must include the flare and the apron section. No parking pads are allowed. The Architectural Review Committee must verify size of driveway as to proposed expansion before recommending approval of ACR form. Pavers are allowed for the entire driveway or widening of the driveway in colors consistent with concrete colors.
Beverly,
Do we have a motion on the floor?
Beverly, can I ask John a question?
Sure, go ahead, Barry.
John, do you know, that in regards to the county, can the county make them put that swell back in?
County, I want to say the word ordinance, but I don't think it's an ordinance. The county does have a guideline where if you do something to your property that affects groundwater or drainage of one of your neighbors, it can't, that's prohibited, but that's a county issue and it would be determined after the fact.
So can this lady go to the county?
Yes.
And request that they put the swell back in?
This lady can go to the county for any reason she wants to.
Okay.
But that's not our
So there's
concern.
an option, go to the county and say they filled that swell in, which is causing drainage problems, and you want it back in, and see what the county does. That might help part of your problem.
I can do that. But I don't understand.
really don't understand. I do too. That is a big problem. Is an extension of a driveway worth several homes up there?
Well, please understand, I have no dog in this fight. I'm Driftwood Village, but I'm just trying to be neutral and look at both sides of this and be fair to you and be fair to the lady that's asking for the request. I want to be fair. I'm not trying to take sides on this. Please understand that. I'm trying to be consistent in saying we can approve this extension, which I've approved several in Driftwood Village to 22 foot, but hey, because you're causing me a problem, I can't approve this. So it seems like there could be a compromise here somewhere if we just sit and think about it. That would be good for you and the homeowner.
Can I have a motion?
I move to approve the driveway. Oh, it is already on the floor? Okay. Okay.
The woman's at the mic now.
You know, can I just say one thing? Isn't the reason why we have a board and committee so that you can see both sides of the story? So you can talk about it and decide, you know, if this is causing a major problem.
Unfortunately, we have guidelines that we have to
But-
follow because that's what our duty is.
I understand that. I've been on the boards here. I've been on the committee here. I've been here for 22 years, ma'am. We can celebrate together. You've had extensions. I understand that. Chris has an extension put on her driveway. But Chris doesn't also have 8,000 pavers on her driveway. Chris is not causing any problems, water, serious problems. This is why the board is here and the committees are here, so you can discover these little things that affect your decisions. And it all has to be taken into consideration.
Doreen, was the swale there when you bought?
No.
Then why, at that time, did you say, hey, we need that swale back in?
We did. You said you were on the board. You know how many.
I've been on the board 2 years, Doreen.
No, I'm talking about the lady next to you.
I was on the board when we noticed that the guy put in all those pavers.
That's it.
We had him take them out.
Yeah, correct.
We had him take them out, and it was 50% of what that whole green area from the driveway to the other side was. We never considered the driveway as part of the front yard. We have not considered the driveway as part of the front yard in anyone else's that I know of. And the reason that this is coming to us, and I'll say it point blank, is because you and Anne Marie, and I don't personally know either of you, have been fighting over 45 different things ever since she moved in, and you and she have not gotten along. I'm sorry, but if someone else had come up, and I'm not saying that we would do the same thing on a driveway. If the driveway is under 22 feet and they wanted to go to 22 feet, as long as it's still on their property and as long as it meets our guidelines, that's what we allow. If our guidelines are wrong, then we need to find out, we need to look at the guidelines again. We've said that before, because things change. But right now, that meets our guidelines.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. You've had plenty of time, Doreen, to speak. I'm sorry, but we have a rule of 3 minutes.
Could I just
One
say
more
one thing to
question.
that lady?
Um,
Not one thing did I instigate. The problem I've had with Anne Marie is because she's had criminals selling meth from her home. So get your facts straight.
Point of interest. Go ahead.
Okay, that's enough.
There's a motion on the floor.
We need to let it go.
Debbie, can you just,
The motion is to approve the application for 10544 Tapestry Drive to widen driveway to 22.
okay, let's, the motion is on the floor. We're gonna vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, moving right along, Budget Committee. Rob?
Good morning, board members, members of the community. On February 18th, Budget Committee formulated and convened with Peggy Byrne, Chris Dabrowski, Aaron Fritsch, Jennifer Smiley, Dave Tuller, and Patty Weislich. Committee liaison attached to that and giving support was John Atwell and Susan Muniak. After reviewing line items throughout the budget and convening 2 more times, on March 16th, we convened and approved the final proposal that we're presenting to the board today. Importantly, our proposal includes maintaining the senior membership fee at $50 per month. Family members, however, will increase from $13 to $14 per month. Included in the budget proposal, we will be carrying over $63,000 from this year's surplus into that 23 budget proposal. Some significant items within the budget line included in the expense area were these: an increase in management fee from $30,000 to $36,000, approximately 20%. Most notably, we have an increase in our insurance, going from $54,000 to $95,000. And just a comment as a member, I'd like to say, I'm sure a lot of you may have seen already some increases from your personal residences going on now. And this is just, what we're projecting out. Decreases, we have pulling repair and supplies, gone from $20,000 $16,000, decrease in entrance improvements from $15,000 to $10,000. And also increase in day labor, which is a temporary labor that, a decrease in our temporary labor, which John uses as, I should say in our day labor, which John uses as temporary labor, from $5,000 to $1,000. Within our reserve section, there's 2 notable items that have increased. Our asphalt, the reserve for our asphalt parking lot has gone up from $80,000 to $110,000. Our seawall has gone from $25,000 to $150,000. We have a suggested recommendation for John, and that's that he seek a contract for maintenance of clubhouse landscaping. I respectfully submit this on behalf of the Budget Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Jennifer.
May I at this time suggest that a postcard be sent to all residents advising that the April 20th meeting of the next board will review and approve or change the budget as reason. Sorry.
I'll second that.
Okay, John, you have a,
Just to let you know, Resource needs the approved budget no later than our first board meeting in May. So if you think the new board might need more review time, that we have time to get the postcard out by that meeting that Jennifer suggests. It would also work if you waited till the next meeting, but it's one or the other.
okay. We have a motion on the floor.
That we send a postcard to all the residents advising that the budget is up for review. If they want a copy, they can come get one. And then the next board, which could be, would review it and either change it or adopt it, either the April 20th or the first May meeting.
You have to specify which one now. If you say the April 20th, I'm looking at Debbie shaking her head. Is April 20th?
Is that too close?
Too close.
Okay.
Okay, then the May.
First meeting in May then?
Yeah.
What's the date of that, Debbie?
Be May 6th.
May 6th, okay.
Okay, I amend my motion for that.
You're good with that, okay. Yes, John?
Just so everyone knows what we're doing, it's a Florida statutory requirement that homeowners receive a 2-week notice prior to the budget being approved. So that notice is going to tell homeowners that to expect that budget to be approved on that day.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me, committee reports. Live Oaks Committee? Jerry?
Good morning, Jerry Beers, President of Live Oaks. I'd like to start this off by thanking all the board members and thanking the ones that are leaving the board. You're deeply appreciated. It's a volunteer job that you never get anything done right. So let's move on with my report, which is short. We're working on the 2023 calendar, which I turned into Debbie, and still trying to find a caterer for the Tosca open house in December. All of our activities in March went very well, and I'm waiting on the Tosca board's election to complete our banking business, and that means with the new treasurer.
Thank you, Jerry. Finance Committee?
Chris Dabrowski for Finance. We had no issues.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, we also have the minutes of the Budget Committee, but I think we've already handled that. Okay. Unfinished business. The drainage proposal. We have a proposal to proceed with drainage corrections. John?
Beverly, just to touch on the budget for any current board members or any potentially new members next week who may have budget questions or want information. I think myself, any member of the Budget Committee, Stu, anyone, we're all willing to answer questions to make that meeting where the budget's to be approved a smooth meeting.
Okay. The drainage proposal. John, would you?
I don't see it in my packet. But we've had a drainage issue on the pool deck for, we've tried some remedies to make it better and, we haven't succeeded now. Everyone's probably noticed that when there's rain in the forecast, we have to close the storm door and sandbag the door. We've reached out to several contractors, had numerous conversations with vendors and engineers and trying to determine a direction to go. And with the seawall project and with potential new drainage having to exit through the new seawall, it made sense to talk to the engineer that we're using for the seawall project to discuss the drainage issue. So he has submitted a letter of engagement to follow the same procedure that we're doing with the seawall for him to draw up specs and then put those specs out to bid and for him to head up that project as well.
Okay. Do I have a motion to? Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we engage an engineering firm to address the clubhouse drainage issue.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Fines and suspension. Want me to do the, yeah. Go ahead, thank you.
For the last time. I move that we find the owner at 8741 Woodcrest Drive, $50 a day up to $5,000 for a violation of parking.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I move that we find the owner at 8741 Woodcrest Drive, $50 a day up to $5,000 because of rubbish and outside storage at the exterior of the home.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I move that we find the resident at 10720 Tanaka Loop, $50 a day up to $5,000 for maintenance on driveway and sidewalk.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Okay. Moving forward, umbrellas. Susan.
I have a pepper tree lane.
Oh, you're the only one that does.
Disregard that one.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Sue.
I move that we purchase new umbrellas for the pool, and we have the ability to purchase, well, I should say, I move that we purchase new umbrellas for the pool, 4 9-foot umbrellas and 6 7.5-foot umbrellas in gray.
Is there any, I guess there is.
Madam Chairman.
Oh, go ahead, Brenda, I'm sorry.
So do we have an estimate of the cost of this and where would it come from in our budget?
It will come from maintenance, from pool maintenance, and for the umbrellas that we were looking at on Amazon, it's less than $500 with tax and everything.
Go ahead, Carl.
All of them?
Good morning, Carl Frymore, 8511 Olden Drive. I have one question. What are you gonna do with the old umbrellas?
They should be thrown away. Have you looked at them?
I've looked at them.
They're pretty
The only
bad.
ones that are salvageable are the tan ones that were last purchased. And we probably would want to keep those for backup. But the orange ones, or
And the
whatever you want to
striped
call
ones.
them, and the striped ones are mildewed, moldy, and
Okay,
deteriorating.
so the ones that are okay, you're gonna keep for backup?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the suggestion.
Were there only, how many were purchased the last time, John? Were there only the 4?
Right, I think for a while now, we've had 10 total, including the 4 that were purchased. And what Sue's proposing is to add another large umbrella for the lower deck.
But what I'm asking is, when we purchased the 4 tan ones, were there extra purchase? So just the 4? I haven't really looked at the others, so.
We would never recommend them to be replaced if they weren't in disrepair.
Brenda is saying that she, and the rest are saying that they have checked them out and they don't think they can be cleaned and salvaged what's out there. Okay.
Excuse me, would you, repeat the color?
Gray, gray. It's a
Gray.
silver gray.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. John, you can order those umbrellas. Thank you. Okay, Sue, you wanted to have a moment to speak?
Yes. My term is up and it's time for some new board members. For 8 of the 14 years Len and I have lived in Timber Oaks, I've been on the board. I have seen 6 managers come and go. I have to say our staff now is fantastic. Thank you to our wonderful staff, from the manager to the office staff to the maintenance staff. You are all great and work very hard for the benefit of us at Timber Oaks. I believe in the last few years, we have made some great progress in Timber Oaks. We have accomplished a lot. We have upgraded the facilities and grounds that have been long overdue, from the painting and updating of the clubhouse to the landscaping in the front of the building to the updating of the pool and spa. For the new board members, whoever they may be, being on a board is not just 2 meetings a month. It takes a lot of time and effort to do the job right. You represent all the homeowners in Timber Oaks. There are 1,994 housing units in Timber Oaks. Just because 30 come to a board meeting because they do not like something on the board is considering, does not mean that the majority agrees. There are more wheels to oil than the squeaky. For members and those that might think they want to become board members, please make sure you know what is involved. Read our documents, learn about HOA laws. There are many free classes that can be taken. In the world of HOAs, the wheels move very slowly. It takes time for everything. And remember, once a board makes a decision, as a board member, you need to support the decision, whether you think it was the wisest or not. Please think about whom you were voting for and why. Did the candidate run on one issue, or is this candidate interested in doing what's best for Timber Oaks? It doesn't matter whether the person is a seasonal resident, lives in a condo, lives in a family village. We are all Timber Oaks owners. If a board member is willing to put in the time and effort, they will be successful. A board member can keep up with what is going on if they want to. Please give the new board all your support. It's okay to question, but not to criticize without knowing the facts. To the new board, especially whoever is the new treasurer, if you have questions, feel free to ask. I'm quite willing to explain any of the reports the board received. I wish the new board success in all that they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Jennifer? You gonna cry?
Either that or I'll stumble over my words like normal. Okay, first of all, I want to thank the residents of Timber Oaks that showed their trust and faith in me to represent them. I'm proud of the many accomplishments and improvements that have been made in the last 2 years for the good of all of the residents in Timber Oaks. My goal from day one was to be the best representation of the majority of residents and always with my head and not my heart decisions, basing on facts and not opinions. This is not a 2-day-a-month commitment. It's emails, calls, fact-finding, furthering your education, and many other sausage-making days that many never know of until they're sitting in our chairs. It's been immensely satisfying and yet frustrating, and I have few regrets. Thank you to my fellow board members, both current and past. Thank you to our manager, John, for being proactive instead of reactive to all of our problems. And a big thank you to the staff who've made our tasks so much easier. Thank you all.
Okay, my turn. To my fellow board members, I am very proud of all that we have accomplished as a board for the good of this community. A big thank you to our manager, John, for being a hands-on and proactive manager. This is a beautiful community, and it takes a lot of work to keep it that way. Thanks to our maintenance staff. They've been very helpful. Thank you to our wonderful office staff. They're the best, so knowledgeable and friendly. And thank you for allowing me to contribute. I appreciate it. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion adjourned. Open forum. Go ahead, Paula.
Paula